Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Be Productive, hosted by business strategist and productivity expert Clara Capano. Join us to discuss the most critical issues affecting our businesses with a fresh, practical, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Be Productive starts right now.
Welcome to Be Productive. I'm your host, Clara Capano, and this is the show where we talk with industry experts that are going to unlock strategies to help you level up your own productivity. So this week, we have an amazing show. We have experts that are going to be giving us so much value. We are going to be talking about knowing your ROI, knowing the systems and how to understand if you are effectively getting the ROI, the return on the investment that you are looking for. We're going to talk about your systems and what you can do to safeguard and streamline your systems. We're going to be talking about how you can protect all that intellectual property that you're creating. And we're going to be talking about how to bring it all together and get out of the balancing act of living on the hamster wheel and how you can start living in more harmony. So stay tuned because we're going to be bringing it to you here on Be Productive.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Are you ready to shake up the world of health with me? Welcome to Disruptive Health, where we are flipping the script on traditional wellness. I'm Dr. Denise Brown, and on this show, we are diving deep into the latest trends and breakthroughs in health and wellness. Whether you're curious about nutrition, exploring new therapies, or just want to live your best life, Disruptive Health is your guide. Don't miss Disruptive Health, coming soon to Now Media TV.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Welcome back to Be Productive. Do you ever feel like life is a balancing act and you're just juggling so many different things? Well, if so, congratulations, because you're alive and you are a professional, because that's how life is. But today we're going to be talking about how to get out of that balancing act and get more into harmony, especially the harmony for those of you that are going in between your corporate job and also maybe building your entrepreneurship. And to help me with this conversation, I have Tamina Watson with Watson Immigration Law joining us. So Tamina, welcome to the show.
Well, Clara, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, well, you are doing this because, again, you are going through and between the running of your immigration law practice and also other entrepreneurial items. So let's dive into this and just hit it head on. Let's talk about time and how do you manage your time between the two worlds?
Well, let me maybe tell you what I do a little bit more so you can see how much is on my plate. So I have been practicing immigration law in Seattle at Watson Immigration Law that I founded almost a couple of decades ago now. And I have employees, I have a lot of clients, and immigration is all about deadlines. Deadlines to renew cases, deadlines to make sure people don't get their visas expired, deadlines to respond to actual, questions from the government. And that's on top of the day-to-day of seeing people, attending meetings, committees. There's just a lot that happens at the work aspect of the business, but then there's also running the business, payroll, taxes, all the admin stuff that goes with it. There are just so many hidden elements that people don't necessarily get to see those. Whether you're a Target or whether you're a small business, those business aspects are always the same. The difference is the Target folks have a lot of people to do those things, and a small firm like me really doesn't have that much help. So it's
Right.
really that juggling game that happens. So how do you manage time? It's really being thoughtful and prioritizing, at least on my perspective, because work is one aspect of your life. I have two beautiful children. They are 14 and 11, right in the middle of middle school. And, it's the busy years of my life with my kids. And I have an amazing husband, a home. I don't get to cook all the time. So the question becomes priorities. What do you prioritize? And how do you manage those priorities, even within those priorities? When it comes to deadlines for cases, for example, so many people at my office need their cases filed by May 31st. That's just 1 week from now. That's a lot of paperwork. How do I prioritize? And so, it's really looking at which one is the most urgent need and which is the need that could be maybe pushed off until next week without dropping the ball. Like, what are the things you can line up to get there when you're ready, but also making sure that you as a human are actually taking care of yourself. Because if you are not putting the oxygen mask on your own face, you're not going to be good for anybody else. So I have developed a lot of techniques, and I'm happy to talk about them.
And that's what I want to dive into. Tell us about some of the techniques and tools you use to help you with your time management and also to start to determine how to know what is a priority over another item.
Yeah, really great question. So first of all, every one of us, just as you mentioned, Clara, at the beginning, that all of us are so busy. When we're in those busy moments, we're not actually taking time for ourselves to maybe take a breather, to analyze what's on your plate and how to address them. If you just deep dive into the first thing on your plate without understanding where that is on the priority list, you've lost a lot of valuable time. And so one of the first things I do when I wake up, and this might come out of left field for a lot of people, I meditate. I sit down and I meditate. I actually take some time for myself. I take deep breaths. Sometimes I might journal. But that meditation came to me after a very stressful period in the immigration world over the last few years. And so I had to figure out, how do I find a way not to be reactive? When you're reacting, as opposed to being proactive about something, your results are not going to be the way you want them to be. So meditation is one of the first things I do when I wake up. And then I actually look through my emails to see what are the urgent emails that need responding immediately and what can wait. And I also go through my calendar. What are my meetings today? When do I get time to have a shower, put my makeup on, do the kids, do I need to do any kids drop-offs today? Do I need to go into my actual office? With remote working, a lot of us are now working from home. are you going to lose time in traffic if you go now, or does it make sense to do a little bit of work now and then go and face the less traffic, times on the road? I think just practically looking at, and so basically looking at your priority list to see how can you play Tetris. I use the word that people, your listeners might and viewers might know the game Tetris. I use that word a lot in my day-to-day life, whether it's my clients or my wonderful team at my office. How are we playing Tetris today? Where are we moving the pieces? Do we have these pieces for the cases? No, we don't. Okay, let's put that aside and let's see how can we get that missing piece. Ask the client, and then we work with all the pieces that exist in one file so we can meet the deadline. So it's really being strategic with all the Tetris pieces that you have in front of you to see where those pieces can move, and you're constantly moving them, moving them. But I do prioritize my meditation no matter what.
Awesome. I love that. And I also start my day off with a little bit. And sometimes I even have to do that meditation reset in the middle of the day to help me with that. I want to come back to a comment that you made earlier and tie it together, because you talk about, again, prioritizing with your team, and you gave us the idea of a store like Target. This is making me think about the importance of delegation, because I think so many times we are hesitant to delegate because we get in our mind of, I can just do it easier myself. I can just do it quickly myself. But there's delegation all around us. At restaurants, they delegate. At Target, they delegate because one person can't do it all. So tell us a little bit about how you bring delegation in and the importance that we all have to understand in getting it all done through delegation.
I think that's such an important question to ask. And the more established your business becomes, the more strategic you have to become with your own time and expertise. Where are you putting that time? How are you actually maximizing that time for the skill set you have? Now, it took a long time to admit that I am not the best at everything. You really do think you are because you've been doing all of those things, but lo and behold, we don't have all the skills. We all have strengths and weaknesses. So what has been really amazing in my life is I have been very fortunate and lucky to find people who share my values, believe in the same things I do. And one of the mottos at our office is love. Do everything with love, treat everybody with love, do every action with love so that the stress dissipates. I have an amazing team. And actually, most of the team members, or all of the team members, are actually better at most things than I am. I know immigration law. I know how to speak with clients. I am giving advice, but there's also a running joke. Don't give Tamina the important documents because she'll lose them. So being organized, but having more organized people around you is so important. So a big shout out to my team. I could not do any of this without all of you. But it doesn't come easily. You have to learn to let go and trust.
Absolutely. And I remember, one of my mentors always, shared with me that they didn't want to be the smartest person at the table. That's why they surrounded themselves with their team, because just like you said, we all bring these strengths in and really work with them. You mentioned meditation. Are there any other tools that you use to help you with time management? Do you do something like a weekly business planning meeting with yourself before the week starts? Do you do time blocking? Do you put your, phone on do not disturb? Is there another like tool or strategy that you could suggest to others who are handling all these multiple different facets?
Really great question. So over the years, our office manager actually established this, that we have a weekly meeting on Mondays where we assess all of our cases, what needs to be done, where, who's going to do it, and when are we filing those cases. As I mentioned, immigration is absolutely about filing cases, within a certain amount of time. And sometimes we don't have enough of that. The other thing that happens in immigration often is we filed a case and we haven't heard from the government. Do we have notice of that particular case? So that meeting we have at the beginning of the week really sets the tone for the rest of the week of what we're going to be doing and how that Tetris game is actually going to be played. So that's a really important aspect of it. I do often will time block to basically say I need to review files. Let me do that, set time aside. So my team will make a stack of files for me to review. My team will also make calendar invitations, add, the documents that need editing into the calendar invitation. So I'm not digging and losing time finding those. I also often will block time for just writing. I do a lot of writing. I write columns, articles, op-eds. I've written a number of books, and I would love people to check out my book, which is called A Visa Guide for Startups and Entrepreneurs who are trying to enter the US market. But none of these come easily. You've got to be organized with your time to do it. So my writing time has traditionally been in the morning, although, Clara, you probably know this. With the weather change, your body changes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So how do you manage those? Yeah, how do you manage your energy, at any given time? So managing your energy, managing where you are, what time of the day you're most productive. Those are some of the very important things to take note of.
Beautiful.
But Clara, I do think do you talk about hobbies at all, Clara?
We do, and that might be a discussion for one of our other ones, is talking about how to really bring those in, because having that balance is so key for us.
Yeah. And, to be honest, I was that person who was on the go all the time. And I never really valued a hobby.
Yeah.
I really thought I didn't need a hobby because I love my work so much.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, I discovered bird photography. And I have to tell you, it's been transformative.
Yeah.
The peace I get within myself, the calmness I have within myself, actually is not just in the birding world, not in the parks. I take it into the office. I take it to my clients. That calming energy, that not feeling stressed or not letting that stress affect you. And don't get me wrong, I get stressed all the time, but I'm able to handle it a little bit better. So I have
that's
become,
what it is. Yeah.
right.
It's all those things, the meditation, the hobbies, having that kind of harmony and balance, it helps you reset yourself so much sooner. And bringing all these together, but going back to it, you got a time block for the hobbies too. And I think it all goes back to the very first thing that you talked about, priorities. You've got to make your life, your business, the dates, all of these things, you've got to make them clear priorities. Well, Tamina, you are just becoming one of my new best friends, because you and I speak the same language, and I love all of these things that you're doing. And at the heart of what we're talking about here on the show, these are all the core things that, regardless of what you do, you've got to be able to maintain these in order to maintain productivity. So real quick, where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, not just for your law background, but also maybe to talk with you more about how they can be productive?
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Clara. Well, the one-stop shop is my website at my law firm, which is www.watsonimmigrationlaw.com. I have an author website, which is taminawatson.com, and you can find my photography and other articles there. But LinkedIn is a fantastic place to just connect. And Clara, just to, we'll put out there that as a working mother, I can speak to mothers. A lot of mothers come to me. Work is for everybody, whether you're at the home or not in the home. So no matter what the issue, I'm sure I can help people with their questions.
Fantastic. Well, Tamina, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. And, we're going to have so much more fun in upcoming segments to dive even deeper into some of these. So for all of you watching, I hope you took a lot of notes. Get your priorities together. Make sure you go into each day with a clear vision of what you need to do, and use your team. None of us can achieve success on our own. So stay tuned, because we'll be right back for more Be Productive.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Have you ever had to hire multiple contractors? It is a daunting task that takes a lot of management time and impacts the core business or the company that time you spend with your loved ones. At Texas Home Property Solutions, you can count on a responsible company that can tackle all your general contractor needs. Electricity, painting, remodeling, plumbing, air conditioning, and roofing. Hire us and forget it. With over 20 years of experience, Texas Home Property Solution will deliver your project on time and within budget, with the high level of quality and integrity, no matter the size or complexity. If you are a company, a government institution, or an individual who needs a general contractor, you need Texas Home Property Solution. Take a decisive step and call us today for a free consultation.
Welcome back to Be Productive. I'm your host, Clara Capano, and I'm excited to talk about today's segment because it's all about streamlining. One of the best ways we can operate at a very high level of productivity is to make sure our systems are in place, especially when it comes to our finances. So to help me with the conversation, I am bringing in my friend, Ryan Kahn, and we are going to be talking all about how we can streamline our finances. So Ryan, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, I'm jealous because you are there at the official Now Media studio, and I'm calling in from the road at a hotel. So I'm very jealous that you get to be there in the studio. Well, and I know we're going to have another fantastic conversation today. So Ryan, you know, you are with Shelton and Associates, and you do a lot of work with entrepreneurs, freelancers, small business owners around helping them with their accounting, their finances, and all those good things. But talk to me a little bit. Share with us, what are some of the most common financial challenges that small business owners, entrepreneurs, and freelancers face on a day-to-day basis?
So that's a wonderful question. We generally find that within the 5 or 10 year mark, the freelancer, the contractor, they're starting to feel the stress and the pressure of being successful, of growing their business. And I would say on the tax realm, there's probably a dozen to 15 common tax issues that people are not maximizing to their benefit. But on the workflow side, the productivity side, there's a whole host of human issues as well, specifically to productivity and workflow, that people have just never done an examination or really done a reboot on their workflow process as they have grown. So they may be running like a small business, but now they're a medium-sized business, and that's their major hurdle. I can think of one client in particular where one of our strategies is to take your workflow and blow it up. When I mean blow it up, I mean like one of those diagrams where they dissect an engine and you see every part. So we go from A to Z, from the primary and initial customer contact all the way to a finished project and getting paid for the work, and we examine everything. Have everybody in that team lay out the workflow, we eliminate duplications, we identify and eliminate funnels and choke points where the work is getting caught up, and then we start assigning that work and roles to certain software, certain people, and everyone now has job descriptions that coordinate with that and a workflow that is now smooth and universal in supporting the mission that they show up to get done every day. And that allows you, of course, to accomplish your vision if everyone has that smooth workflow. That analysis has really never been done by most entrepreneurs.
You know, you are so right. And I think that you hit the nail right on the head with, you know, we get into the business and then we reach that point where we're ready to get to the next level. And that's a whole other myriad of challenges that come out. And how do we grow with purpose in what we're doing? You mentioned this idea of, you know, putting in these workflows. A lot of times it's having these standard operating procedures in place so that we can help to automate. And we know that when we automate things, you know, everything runs according to plan. So let's talk technology for a second. How can entrepreneurs and small business owners start to leverage some technology out there to really help them with the automation and productivity?
I could think of dozens of ways, but I'll kind of stick in my lane here with the financial side. Having a good accounting software or relying on a payroll software would be a great way to immediately inject some efficiencies into your business. That can link bank accounts and credit cards, and then all you have to do is reconcile online. I would also use an expert to help you do that. If you as a business owner are taking care of every income and expense and you're paying every bill and you're chasing down every invoice, there's a lot more time you could be spending on your highest and best purpose, your greatest value to the company, whether that's sales or whether that's the finishing touch to your product. If you're stuck in the books, if you're stuck in the finances, you probably honestly do not have clean books and you do not have an exact measure of where you are as a business. You're likely running it based off the bank account balance day to day or week to week, and you need to be running it off your financials. So having software to assist you with that and an expert to assist you with that is an outstanding way to jump into really freeing up some time and getting clarity with your position as a business.
You're speaking clarity. That's my language right there. Love it. So Ryan, you know, from your expertise of doing this and being the president of your company, what are some of maybe the first steps or the best steps that we should be thinking about to keep accurate financial records to help us as business owners and entrepreneurs?
So one of the first things I would do is probably a little bit of a mindset shift. And I would say you probably perceive yourself as a professional because you are. If you are providing a professional service in which someone relies on you, you need to then rely on professionals as well. So again, having clean financials is so important. If you think that you can grow your business exponentially without a good accountant, a good attorney, a good insurance guy, a good IT and marketing person, you're going to probably run up against a wall real quick. So that would be my first thing, is to get clean financials, know the business, get into a software, get into an expert that can do it. Even if you need to hire an internal bookkeeper to take that off of your lap and keep it clean for you, you're going to find so many things that you can be doing with your time to grow your business. You want to be working on your business and not in the business, and that would be the first step.
Yeah, and you know, what you're saying, I appreciate so much. And I think these are messages that entrepreneurs, business owners need to hear. We need to free up our time so that we can be, again, like you said, in the business, generating more. But if we don't have a foundation for the, you know, the foundational key points, when we get the business, we're going to be acting very haphazardly. And that's really hard for us to show up with that high level of productivity. So what you're saying is just, you know, is so powerful. And I really hope a lot of our viewers are taking notes and taking these away. So again, you are the president of Shelton and Associates. Tell us a little bit more about your company, areas that you specialize in, and how people can get a hold of you.
Sure. So some of the areas that we specialize in are, of course, tax planning and advisory services. We're seeking to have an expertise relationship where we help you reach both your business and your personal financial goals, and that's through being a trusted advisor. CS Business Consulting works in conjunction with that to do things like we said, like break apart your workflow, build your team culture, instill leadership in you and everyone in all the levels, and they work hand in hand based on the needs we're presented with. For example, the last one we did, we had a 90-day turnaround where they implemented our systems and had a 37% growth in 90 days through using these systems. So in order to find us, you can go to csbizcon.com, that's csbiz.com. And if you go there, you can also send emails to ryan@csbizcon.com or call our phone number, which you can actually get both companies. Just ask for which one. It's 270-442-6688, and we'll look at your situation both on the tax planning side and the people building, team building side.
Beautiful. And Ryan, thank you so much for being here for this conversation. And for those of you that are watching this segment, I want you to really hone in on that last message of trusted advisor, because that is what you want when you are out there running your own business. Because remember, we're all a CEO of our own business and our lives. When you are out there being the CEO, you need a trusted advisor working alongside of you. And being able to have one like Ryan and his company that are going to give you that one-stop shop where you can create those workflows, those standard operating procedures that are going to guide you, that are going to challenge you with the tough questions, all so that you can streamline your practice. Man, that is a winning combination right there. So I hope you took away so much value from this conversation. I know I did. And stay tuned, because we're going to be right back for more Be Productive.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Have you ever had to hire multiple contractors? It is a daunting task that takes a lot of management time and impacts the core business or the company that time you spend with your loved ones. At Texas Home Property Solutions, you can count on a responsible company that can tackle all your general contractor needs. Electricity, painting, remodeling, plumbing, air conditioning, and roofing. Hire us and forget it. With over 20 years of experience, Texas Home Property Solution will deliver your project on time and within budget, with the high level of quality and integrity, no matter the size or complexity. If you are a company, a government institution, or an individual who needs a general contractor, you need Texas Home Property Solution. Take a decisive step and call us today for a free consultation.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Welcome back to Be Productive. We are talking about cybersecurity. You know, in this day and age, we are hearing about security threats day in and day out. And we don't want to be fearful of them. We want to be informed about them. So to help me with this discussion, I am bringing in my friend and cybersecurity expert, Greg Schaefer. Greg, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, Clara.
You know, nobody wants to talk about cybersecurity because, again, it instills a lot of fear, but it is something that businesses need to pay attention to because it is happening. It's an everyday occurrence right now. And with it happening so frequently, you know, there's new trends and new ways of dealing with it and facing it each and every day. So what are some of the current trends that we're seeing in cybersecurity, some of the threats that are out there, and how we can better prepare for them?
Well, one thing that doesn't change is the motivation, because the criminals are obviously out to try to get something. Most of the times, it's the cash payment or some sort of payment. Sometimes it's more like defacing a website or something along those lines. So long as the motivation persists, the threats will persist. But the actual threats change. You might recall that a few years ago, one of the big threats out there with credit cards was credit card skimming, credit card fraud, and all of that. But then we moved to what they call chip and pin, and now you insert the card and things are a lot more secure. So what did the criminals do? They shifted to another thing, ransomware. Ransomware now is like one of the biggest things out there as far as threats go. It's been that way for a little while. And eventually ransomware will run its course, but then the criminals will go somewhere else. But ransomware works now because people pay the ransom. And you might think, well, why would they pay the ransom? The FBI says, well, that's not really a good idea. But the thing about it is that with your business, if your business is on the line, you're going to have to do everything that you can in order to make sure that the business actually survives. So ransomware still here, will be here for a while, but now we've got some other threats that are coming in. Generative AI or artificial intelligence is one of those things that is such a buzzword now. People know it more commonly probably as ChatGPT is one of the examples out there. And where this comes into play with regards to threats is that fraudsters use phishing a lot. That's the emails that try to trick you to do something. And most of the time, security folks like me, we would say, well, it's easy to figure out if it's a phish because usually the email is got some bad grammar in it or spelling errors or it just doesn't sound right. But now you can use generative AI to create an email that sounds exactly like what, say, your CEO would send. And it's a very difficult thing to overcome. Folks are using generative AI, for example, to create voice impersonations. We've got a serious problem now with calls where folks will try to convince, say, grandparents that their grandchild is kidnapped, and they've used the generative AI to replicate the voice. And that's actually getting into now another risk called deep fakes. One of my favorite stories with regards to deep fakes, and a deep fake is where like if you and I are talking right now and it looks like Greg, sounds like Greg, but it really isn't Greg. Well, you might think, well, that sounds pretty out there, but it's a serious risk that's been exploited. And one example from earlier this year was where an executive was in a meeting with the other executives of the company, and during this Zoom meeting, it was a Zoom call, they decided that they needed to wire $25 million to some place because of some business reason. It had to be done now. Well, everybody's there. Everybody agreed. So it seems like it'd be fine, except the other five people in the Zoom call were deepfakes. They weren't who they looked or sounded like. So this gets to be a very, very serious issue. So these are all the things, and you might think it's like, well, I'm a small business. They won't try to deepfake me. If they have something you want, they'll figure out a way to try to get it.
Yeah. Wow. That is just crazy. With all of these changes happening, so rapidly, what should an organization do to kind of stay in front of all these evolving threats?
One of the best pieces of advice, it's part of a government campaign that's been around for at least 13 years. It's called Stop, Think, and Connect. And it's all about slowing down and awareness. So think about those words for a minute. Stop. It's just stop what you're doing for a minute and then think about, does it make sense what you're about to do? So many times folks that don't think that they're going to fall for these things actually do. And anybody can fall for these if they don't really understand or just take a moment to pause. That's what the criminals try to do. They try to take advantage of rushing you through it. So figure out, does it make sense? Does it seem off somehow? And then go ahead and try to connect. Now, other things that you want to do, of course, is you want to protect your cyber infrastructure within your business. We talk about that with firewalls, making sure your home network is up to date on firmware and all of that. This is never a one and done process. It's an ongoing thing. A lot of times these things can happen in the background. Your computer automatically updates. Sometimes it happens at a most inopportune moment. And you're like, I don't want to have to boot it again right now, but you have to do that. And then also monitoring as best as you can. We say in large businesses that you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's on your network, to what's going on in your machines. And it sounds like that's a pretty complicated thing, but there are certain things you can do in smaller businesses to check logs and so forth on what is going on in your infrastructure. And then the final thing is always pay attention to the news that's out there. News reports are great for understanding what threats could be out there. And they sometimes leverage news events that are out there as well too to get you to click on things. So just awareness is what it really comes down to.
Gosh. And again, it's just everywhere. And I think the misnomer is it only happens to large corporations, but we're seeing it more and more with even smaller companies. So you are the expert. You've been doing this for well over a decade and really have a great, pulse point on these. So what role does a company such as yours play in helping to keep up with the current trends and again, protect these companies?
Well, a virtual CISO lives in the security world. It's what we do. It's kind of like, I always like to use the comparison with an accountant. It's you use money. We all use money. We back in the day we had checkbooks. Now I don't think many people use checkbooks per se, but it's the same concept. But that doesn't mean that you need to be a certified accountant. You don't have that expertise. You need to hire someone for that. And that's what the virtual CISO does. We stay abreast with trends and technologies, not only through news reports and feeds and all that, but we have other clients. And sometimes the other clients are some of the best sources for us to understand that something is going on. If we hear from 2 or 3 folks within an hour, it's like, hey, we noticed something. Well, that might be a trend that there's a new threat out there that isn't even on the news wires at all. So usually with your virtual CISO, you've got somebody that has this experience and certifications. With a CPA, well, I was going to say with an accountant, they have the certification, the CPA. With information security, we have something called the CISSP, and that basically means that we are trained. We keep up with that training. We have to keep up with it with what they call continuing professional education or CPE credits. And all of that is what we can bring to you because as a small business owner, you're more concerned about making sure that your business is operating correctly and being productive. The security stuff, leave to other folks. We'll help you out.
Absolutely. And that's why we bring people like you on, is because you are the experts. And as leaders, I think about working with somebody like you as insurance for the company, because should something happen, that's going to zap your productivity, not just for one day, not even for a week, but it could take you off the grid for months, depending on the size of your organization. So being able to work with someone like you, an expert who's going to, again, set us up and watch for those trends ahead of us to be able to protect us is just huge. So where is the best place for our viewers to find you? Because people need to really, again, be reaching out and bringing in experts like you as strategic partners.
The best place is to go to our website, vcisoservices.com or vcisoservices.com. And we have a contact page there. We have a phone number there for old-fashioned contacts if you want. But really, the most efficient is a button on the first page that says book an appointment or schedule an appointment. And that'll get you a 15-minute call with myself or one of our lead senior virtual CISOs. And we can talk about what your issue is and how we might be able to help.
Love it. Oh, Greg, thank you so much for looking out for us and for sharing all these tips with us. And for those of you that are watching, I would go to the website and book a call with Greg and his team. Again, it doesn't matter the size of your organization. We are all opening ourselves up each and every day that we're open for business. The threat is out there. So protect yourself, protect your team, protect your level of productivity, and get yourself set up to make sure that should the worst happen, you're going to be prepared for it. So stay tuned because we'll be right back with more Be Productive.
¿Tiene un carro viejo? Usted podría donarlo y cambiar una vida. 1 de cada 8 mujeres es diagnosticada con cáncer de mama. El United Breast Cancer Foundation necesita su ayuda. Al donar su carro viejo o camioneta vieja, bien sea que funcione o no, puede ayudar a mujeres, hombres y familias afectados por el cáncer de mama. Además, recibirá una deducción de impuestos por su donación caritativa. Llama ahora al número que ves en pantalla para que venga a recoger el vehículo gratis.
Are you ready to shake up the world of health with me? Welcome to Disruptive Health, where we are flipping the script on traditional wellness. I'm Dr. Denise Brown, and on this show, we are diving deep into the latest trends and breakthroughs in health and wellness. Whether you're curious about nutrition, exploring new therapies, or just want to live your best life, Disruptive Health is your guide. Don't miss Disruptive Health, coming soon to Now Media TV.
Welcome back to Be Productive. You know, one of the things that is so important for us to know if we are really seeing the results that we want is that ROI, our return on investment. So to help us with a conversation about really dialing in to know if we're getting the right return on our investment, I am bringing in my friend and contributor, Rob Tritt. Rod, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Claire. It's good to be on with you today.
You know, I'm excited about this because so many times as business owners and leaders, you know, we are always testing the waters. And at the end of the day, it's going to be the money telling us if we're getting the results that we want. So when we're looking at our ROI, especially as we are working with it in alignment with our advertising and marketing, how can businesses really measure their return on investment when it comes to their marketing and advertising efforts?
You know, it's interesting because, you know, marketing is one of those things that can be, unfortunately, can be kind of a black hole, you know, where we end up spending a lot of money on this and that without really knowing if we're getting or that return on investment. Mm-hmm. So this really goes back to knowing the numbers. You know, obviously that's the piece of advice that everyone always talks about that's so important, to know the numbers. You know, looking at the different channels of marketing and seeing which ones are actually generating leads, you know, if those leads are turning into customers or clients. So, so constantly reviewing the marketing channels to see if that the investment in each channel is paying dividends. Have to be on top of that. Otherwise, it's a black hole and you end up spending a lot of money on no results.
Absolutely. And, it's in that tracking and measuring. And I work with a lot of my clients on doing this too. You really have to do this on a regular basis. So many people do it at the end of the year, and that's just not enough. Doing it quarterly, monthly, even weekly, because you're right. We don't want to keep, putting in not just our financial efforts, but our energy and our time when we're not really getting the results. And it's this constant tweaking and working and adjusting with it. So for small businesses out there, what are some of the most cost effective marketing strategies that you can suggest small businesses and leaders use?
So interestingly enough, so obviously cost effective, we can measure cost in lots of different ways. How much does it cost in terms of money? How much does it cost in terms of time, effort, that sort of thing. But if we're talking specifically about money, things like, referral marketing, word of mouth, that kind of thing is always going to be cost effective. It's also that type of marketing also has the highest close rate. So it's the most effective for someone's marketing for that kind of thing. Social media is fine. Agency spending, digital marketing agencies, they'll do it for you, but it costs a lot. So if someone is okay with jumping into it and doing their own social media marketing, then that can help. That's not expensive. Things like doing presentations, workshops, product demonstrations out in the local community, those kinds of things will get information out about your products and services without spending a lot of money. So those are great areas to look at.
I see a lot of people doing the workshops and doing live events on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I think those are great ways to really allow someone to not only bring in the familiarity and the visibility of the brand, but to highlight your expertise. Absolutely. And I think, again, utilizing these is a great way to get a far reach of people to really do that and then be able to build your following from there. And like you said, this age of the technology is something we didn't have even 15, 20, 30 years ago. So, it's these new types of outreaches, but again, really being strategic, with it. So talk a little bit more about digital marketing and how it can really drive the growth and, more importantly, the profit growth behind it.
Well, digital marketing, if done properly, can definitely drive growth and revenue. The biggest pitfalls with that is that it's very expensive, and oftentimes small businesses don't have the money to invest in that for iffy return. But if done properly, like I said, it can really get the word out to a very large audience in a short time. So it's definitely something that somebody wants to look at, but be careful with it because it can be very expensive.
Yeah. So in your opinion, I hear a lot about with digital marketing, consistency is a big key. What are your thoughts on consistency, the frequency of it? Because again, if you're investing, a lot of it is going to be your time if it's not as expensive to do this on your own. But I mean, I imagine I couldn't just host one workshop a year. Is it quarterly, monthly, weekly? What are some of the best tactics you think are out there for small business owners?
Well, obviously, with a small business owner who's wearing 17 hats, it's hard to find the time to do all these things. But the key with digital marketing, especially social media, is consistency. You've got to do it regularly. Each platform has its own specific level of what needs to be done and when. Neil Patel, one of the probably most influential marketers in the country, his company, NP Digital, did a study recently, and he came back and said, TikTok, someone needs to post on TikTok 3 times a day. LinkedIn is only once a day. So each platform varies in the amount of posts that should be done, but it needs to be done regularly. if you're posting less than, say, 3 times a week, it's not going to have the results that you need to have. Consistency is key. It does take a lot of work.
And I really appreciate how you brought up knowing the platforms. You know, you definitely can be visible on all of them, but you're right. They all demand a different flair, a different way of communicating your messaging. So you do need to, know that, and also know where your target market is. You know, for me as a speaker and a corporate trainer, I need to be more visible on platforms like LinkedIn versus TikTok, even though I'm visible on all of them. So again, I think that's a big part of it too. Now, Rob, this is something that you work with small business owners on. So tell us a little bit about your company and where people can, reach out to you if they want to learn more, and maybe even bring you in as a consultant to help them.
Sure. So what we do is we help business owners get past problems that are causing their company to not grow. Sticking points. We also help help with projects to meet their goals. And then we can also help install a framework that they can use to grow their business without a lot of headaches and hassles. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not really on the other ones because I don't like them very much, but that's just me. But I am on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. And you can also go to my website, which is profitpartnergroup.com, and you can call me at 770-256-8216 and email rob@profitpartnergroup.com.
Beautiful. All right, Rob, thank you so much for being here and for bringing us some information on, growing. And I love how you even said that about let's grow our businesses without the needed headaches. As business owners, we don't need those headaches. So make sure, again, you are partnering with strategic experts like Rob and his team. So make sure you're putting these together, because at the end of the day, we've got to have that return on investment. So stay tuned, because we'll be right back for more Be Productive.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Well, I don't know about you, but I really took away some great nuggets. I love learning about streamlining systems, because as business owners and leaders, it's all about our systems. It's all about those standard operating procedures. But if our systems are not streamlined, we're going to waste time. Again, the ROI, we're always looking at the bottom line, but we need to make sure we're doing it the right way with the right intentions. And, we're creating things every day. And that cybersecurity piece is something that we don't think of. But if we get hacked, if somebody breaks into those systems, man, is that going to put us behind days, weeks, even months. And at the end of the day, we are juggling so many different things. It's not about getting into balance. It's, again, about taking back control of our time so we can live in harmony. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and keep watching for more Be Productive. I'm your host, Clara Capano, and we'll catch you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
How would would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99 and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
A nombre del Instituto Nacional. Avanzar con la transformación.